Hello, and welcome to the zoomed in edition of Hooky Hour that I decided to do for no reason. Just kidding. I'm back over here. Anyways, I'm sorry. It's. How do I put this? We'll go 12 minus 5 a.m. After a long night's worth of not recording stuff and procrastinating, here we are at this time of hour on this time of day. Why arrest men on guard? Men on guard and Juan Corda were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. I know my celebrities well, they'll kill each other. As for evidence, there's the Jabba Ninja's button. It has ripped off the ninja costume and was found in Mr. Onguard's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. My god, it's like a golden knife. Golden butter knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. That's no good. Also, is my... Sorry, there's like something up with my hair up here. It's like a little... Just a little dingly-do. Anyways. So the defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clear, sir. Sticky with blood. Bears the victim's blood and Matt Onguard's fingerprints in the grip. Gatewater is engraved. Alright. Great water at Gatewater. And then there's this button. Who knows what it's used for? This was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And is this button also covered in blood? Yes. We know that the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What? Impossible. Was ripped from this costume, is covered in Corda's blood, found in Onguard's hakama. The hakama. All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? Oh man, he's back to being a smug bastard. I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can find this hole right here. Just moons Phoenix. You can press as hard as you like against my cheeks, but just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. Grr. Men on guard and Juan Corda were huge rivals. But in terms of popularity, Matt Onguard won, did he not? Yeah, but you know what's ironic, pal? Juan Corda was always one step behind Mr. Onguard and everything. This year, it seemed like he had finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. But Mr. Corda lost the Grand Prix in the end. Wow, everyone's tired in this court case. I can only imagine how excruciating it is having to be in this case. That's too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing. Who gives a shit? They each thought the other guy was in his way. Wait just 1 second there. Mr. Onguard was beating Mr. Corda in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. Yeah, but, you know, he's gaining his hot on the trail, you know? Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective, it's not, well... I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant wouldn't have had no motive. English? Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. No, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Well, that's... Actually, no, that's pretty in line. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I look forward to your pension negotiations. No! 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 No, detective, let's continue with the testimony. No time for Darth Vader reference. No, not my poor pension, too. Shut the hell up about your dumb thing. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed.
Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir.
What about what I was saying? Hello, anyone? Hello, you? Who's in there?
As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button.
Do you have any proof that the button belonged to the victim?
Huh? What do you mean, pal?
Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you have any evidence to back your claim that this button was ripped off of the Jammin' Ninja's costume?
But can't you tell by just looking at it? You know, that's what the forensics teams did. They looked at it, and the victim's blood is on it.
Anyone could have smeared that blood on there afterward.
No. Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir.
All right, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? I said thread. Closing the thread now. No more game facts for you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. And that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends on the thread of the costume with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match.
Yeah, that's it. They're a perfect match, pal.
Irk. That's Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat.
It was ripped off of the ninja costume, found in his Hakama.
When was this button found?
Pretty soon after the body was found, after the body was discovered, we rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Corida. And then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder.
The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks unlike some people. Hey, what is he trying to say about me here? The only trick I've ever played was that one time where I swapped a dead body with another. Alright, anyways.
The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife.
My knife. Mr. Phoenix Knife. How were the fingerprints arranged on the knife?
What do you mean? Well,
by examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhead?
Oh, is that what you meant? Well, we didn't actually think of that.
I can't believe the bumbling of this department. Hopeless, were you paying attention to the testimony, right? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There is no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder.
So the defendant, the owner... So is the defendant the owner of this knife then? Question mark? The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder.
How do you know he bought the knife? There's no way this was pretended murder, even if he bought the knife.
Sorry, pal. Got the receipt right here. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Or for getting jam on, like you're a jammin' ninja trying to jam on.
This isn't going good. If the prosecution can prove it was a premeditated murder, we're done for. Phoenix? Yes? There's something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully before it's too late. A button covered in the victim's blood and a knife with on-guard's fingerprints. Be grateful. If the judge were more rash, he would have already pounded his gavel in closing. We're still in a world of trouble. Well, before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. So let's find the weakness in this testimony, no matter how small it may be, okay, Phoenix?
Okay, well, let's do it.
Okay, so what do we got for options first off? My first inclination is to look at the murder scene. Yeah, I guess this would indicate we got the knife here with the blood on it. And then this is where the button would be also with the blood on it. Okay. Makes sense so far. Strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Strangled with a scarf, stabbed by a knife. Strangled with a scarf, stabbed with a knife. Profiles. It was all Mr. Powers. Also, this dude was 24. No way, come on. This dude's in his 30s, 40s. Age question mark. Alright, well, now's probably not a good time to be just looking through ages. Got some young people in this court case. Alright, anyways, back. So, they were huge rivals with each other. I guess that's not really debatable, is it? Like, I don't think I'm gonna, find anything there. I each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. Did they? We did go over the fact that, like, they didn't, but... As for evidence, there's the gem and ninja's button. It was ripped off the ninja costume and found in Mr. On-Guard's hakama. Fingerprints were also all over the knife. So we got that. Gatewater is engraved. Let me check this again. I guess we're not gonna get anything. Yeah, they're not gonna draw like actual fingerprints on it. That'd be kind of hard to do. I would imagine. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. Bought the knife for the crime. I don't suppose there's like any actual evidence to him buying the knife. Gatewater is engraved. That's the hotel, right? The Gatewater Hotel. Because it's like a play on the Watergate Hotel. But anyways. Was ripped from his costume, is covered in Corda's blood, found in On-Guard's hakama. Photo of Juan Corda's murder scene. Map of the Gatewater Hotel around the crime scene. Where would he have bought a knife from? Bought the knife for the crime. Let me... Hold on. I should definitely save this real quick. About to see that I'm not lying and it is in fact an ungodly hour. It is beyond the realm of gods. I will never wake up again. Okay, so bought the knife for the crime. When did we ever establish that is what I'm wondering. 100%. Aha! Wait a second. Oh, what? So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand. That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? How do we get that wrong? Seriously, we got like 10 people working on this. Take a good look at the handle on this knife. You'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? It has Gatewater. It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? What the hell is that? I think I've heard of that name somewhere before. Couldn't quite put my finger on it though. That's the name of the hotel, Gatewater Hotel. Oh, uh-oh. Mr. Edgeworth, I really screwed up, didn't I? The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Bum, bum, boom. Yes, that is very true. This is very big. Well, what is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I see with my third eye as I cover this one up. I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There's no one currently in the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this.
Oh, but I didn't. Oh, that's right, I'm not on the police force.
The question is, where did this knife come from?
Why, that's obvious. It was from the victim, Mr. Cordove's room. Or came from there.
Sorry, Your Honor, but that is simply incorrect. Ooh. Let's stretch a little bit. You gotta do some roly-polies with my shoulders. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. Oh, it's a knife.
There's a knife and a fork on that table. Then, it was the cup of wine? Where in the world did this knife come from?
If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Ongard. Especially what was on top of his table. Ah, a missing knife. Oh my god. There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife. Ooh. Ooh. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating...
Don't say we like you were a part of this case all along, Mr. Edgeworth.
We came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Ongard's knife was missing.
Wow, Eric.
Mr. Ongard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner.
I don't know why I'm really pronouncing this
the way Mr. Edgeworth speaks. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. I will now take my bow.
Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction.
It seems like Edgeworth had this planned from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it.
A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. Sounds like a regular Friday night to me. There's quite a sizable amount of evidence here.
I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of Your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. Thank you, Mia. Truly, I would have never guessed. In other words, new evidence. Are you getting this, Phoenix? New evidence. New evidence.
What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright?
Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something stupid here, that gavel of his will be ringing out to the sound of our defeat.
Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court?
In a moment, Your Honor. In a moment. Give me one moment, please. Or actually, you know what? We'll take another moment. We'll deliberate throughout the next hour long before I hit the recording button again. Because I'll be seeing you all next time on Hooky Hour. Until then, see ya. Bye.